So I'm sitting here with Keith Burton and with Matt West from Insidedge, and we've just finished our presentation to the IABC Chicago chapter, and we have a few questions to ask about the generational differences presentation that we heard today. Keith, why do you think it's important for business communicators to be aware of the generational differences?
Ken, thanks for the question, and also just thanks to you and the chapter for inviting us to be part of today's meeting. We've known for many, many years as organizational and employee communicators that one size does not fit all in employee communications, that we have to think of the people we're communicating with, what they bring as an audience into a conversation with us, and what they expect of us. And what they expect, as we've learned through the survey we've done and the work we've done in the field through the years, is that there are generational, cultural, age, and other differences that really are important to people and in terms of how we communicate with them. And so we have to think more deeply about building employee communications models that are receiver-based, that work with them based on how they receive information, what their expectations are, where they are in the workforce in terms of their history, their tenure, their socioeconomic and other backgrounds that they bring into an organization really are important in terms of how they process information, and we have to think differently about these things today if we want to be successful in our work. That includes using research as we think about these employee populations to understand these differences, but also to confirm that we're connecting with them where they are in the workforce.
Okay, great. Matt, can you tell me a little bit about the survey? When did you conduct it? How many participants were there? A little bit background on it?
Sure. So we conducted it in January of 2011 of this year, and we asked more than 1,000 working Americans a series of questions, and specific about generational communications. A lot of our findings reinforced a lot of what we're hearing and seeing in the workplace, but a few things surprised us. For one, we found that when asked the question, do you feel that you have access to the information you need to do your job across the board? It didn't matter what generation you were a part of. Folks felt that they did not. It was difficult for them to find the information they needed to do their job. And as communicators, how critical, how important is that for us to be curators of information, to facilitate access to the right information for people to do their job. But we also found that face-to-face is across the board important for employees. I think we take for granted that folks of the millennials and the Gen X generations, maybe it's not as important for them, but across the board we found face-to-face is still a critical and important way, especially in communicating with direct supervisors and leaders.
That's great. So a very strong message there to corporate communicators, I think, in using these results. I think you also mentioned personas as a way to help personalize different generations and getting the message across to them.
Yeah.
How do you think that helps communicators?
Well, we like to say personify your communications, and that means you don't have to have every data point about your audiences, but what you can do is think about some generalizations and build personas who become the individuals that you communicate with. It's hard for the human brain to comprehend thousands and thousands of employees, but if we think of ourselves as plucking one individual out of that group, that individual becomes our persona. That individual has likes and dislikes, needs and expectations. If we communicate to that individual, then we'll have communicated effectively. So we recommend to our clients to always create a series of personas in our communications, and they can represent the different generations, different functions within your organizations. It's a really effective tool to knowing your audience.
And I think building off of that too, to Matt's point, we know the importance of storytelling in companies today. And when you build personas, you begin thinking about the people, the men and women who are receiving this information, and how they can translate it based on their own experience. So being able to encapsulate information often in an example of a story is very important in that. So this model helps us to do that. It also helps us to think about that receiver basis, to go out and to really begin thinking about the people who are, again, going to process that information based on who they are.
Okay. Well, this is great, very helpful. Where can people get a copy of the survey?
They're going to get it on our website. We'll place it, first of all, here within the Chicago chapter. You'll have it up on your website. We'll make that available so that the IABC can have access to today's presentation. And also, I would encourage your members to look at our website, insidedge.net, where they'll not only find this information as we place it there for their availability, but also our Insidedge content, the information that we have on our key members, as well as the work that we do. You'll find our intake blog there as well for timely information around the work we're doing out in the field and examples of topics that really are relevant, I think, to IABC members as really key leaders in the area of organizational communication. So we invite your members to be there as well.
Great. Well, thanks so much for your time, Keith
Thank you,
and
Ken.
Matt.
Thanks.